Welcome to Sumita Roy's English classroom. I'm Professor Sumita Roy. Somebody in the comments asked me, of which university am I the professor? I'm the professor of Osmania University, Hyderabad, which is more than 100 years old now. It's one of the most prestigious universities in the country. Now let us talk about what we are going to do in this video. And that is 5 steps to overcome the fear of speaking. Many of you tell me, you write in comments and messages that you have great fear in speaking. Your mind is full of ideas. You can say many things, but when you start speaking, you feel a great fear. So I'm going to tell you these 5 steps because these have been discussed by me in many other videos also, but not all together in one place. You will find each of these points in some video or the other. Those of you who have subscribed, please watch all the videos. Now we have about 175 videos on this channel. And all the subscribers, if you search the list and watch, it will be beneficial for you. My repeating these things again and again is not very beneficial for those who are watching regularly. Overcoming fear of speaking requires some regular steps. And these regular steps, you have to take it up yourself. If I tell you that you can overcome the fear of speaking, it does not overcome your fear until you start doing it. I can only tell you that it is possible, but you need to practice. Therefore, watch the video carefully. Since there are 5 steps, start by practicing 1 step at a time. Don't try to do all the 5 in a single day. Today you hear the video and start with step 1. Tomorrow again you hear the same thing and you start with step 2. So you repeat step 1 and do step 2. So on the second day you have 2 steps. Then on the third day you take up the third step. Do all the 3 steps and so on. Till you get all the 5 steps. And once you are through with 5 steps, continue to practice for many days so that your fear is completely gone from your mind. The first step, very, very important step, is telling yourself that you can succeed. Every morning you must get up and say that I will succeed in learning excellent English. Keep repeating this to yourself. Today I will practice hard and I will move to the next step of my English journey. I will practice today and try to become better. I will improve my English today. This in psychology is called auto-suggestion. Auto is, ourselves, self. And suggestion is to give an idea, to give advice. So auto-suggestion. I have given you a video on roots. So there you will find the root auto. You see, I'm using those root words here also. You will be able to practice. One more word to add to that vocabulary list where I did not give you auto-suggestion there. Now here, auto-suggestion means telling yourself every day. Every morning you must tell yourself. Every evening, again you must say, today I have learnt good English. Today I have practiced a lot of English. Today I have become slightly better in English. Today my English has improved. This is the first step. The first step is a very, very important step. Because unless you do this, you will not benefit at all. All the rules you learn, all the practice you do, but your mind doesn't cooperate with you. Your mind itself pulls you down by saying, my English is very poor. This is the message I get, hundreds and thousands of messages saying, I'm very poor in English. My English is terrible. I've tried and I have not improved my English. This is what you have to avoid. This is step number one. Step number one, you say, I'm struggling. I'm finding it very difficult. It is really hard, but I am learning a little every day. I am going to practice every day. Unless I practice, I will not be able to learn. Therefore, I will practice today. In this way, you keep giving positive ideas to your mind. Then your mind becomes ready for the learning of English. You must not, start learning English with a mind which is not ready at all. This readiness of mind is important. That is why I gave you that as the first step. Auto-suggestion, telling yourself positives about how you are going to learn, and at the beginning of the day how you are going to learn, and at the end of the day how much you have learned. This will be very useful. Obviously, the second step is practice and practice and practice. If you are really serious about learning anything, then you need to practice. Unless you practice, you cannot learn anything. Remember that whatever we know today is the result of practice. I'm teaching you now, but I had to do a lot of practice in order to become proficient in teaching. We all speak, but remember how we began speaking? By making only sounds. A newborn child can make a sound but cannot speak. Today we are able to speak. We can mix so many sounds to make a word. We can add so many words to make a sentence. We can speak 500 sentences at a go. How did we do it? Only through practice. So the second step of overcoming fear is to practice. Even if you get bored to practice, even if you get scared to practice, even if you are disappointed that my practice is not good enough, don't stop. Please continue to practice, because unless you practice, you cannot improve. Now you will ask me a question. What should we practice? I have given you many videos for beginners where I have given you sentences and said, repeat after me. That is called shadowing. So if you listen to the sentence and repeat, then after repeating it 5 times, you stop the video, remember the sentences and repeat without looking at it. It is practice. I have given you many stories, storytelling. You listen to the story and then practice by standing in front of the mirror and trying to say that story aloud. You will find that you can remember 2 or 3 sentences. The remaining sentences you can't remember. Fear comes. Oh, I don't know any words. How will I say the rest of the story? Go back to the video, watch it again, then try once more. In this way, you must keep a few hours for practice every day. If you're very busy with your job, etc., then you devote a few minutes. But if you have free time, at least devote an hour or 2. That much practice is necessary when we are learning a language. Please remember that learning a language is the best thing you can do. As soon as I retired from service, I started learning a new language because I thought that would help me, and it is a great help to the mind, because by learning a language, we are training our mind. So we practice step number 2. Now we move to step number 3, and that is the fear of making mistakes. Why do we get frightened? We say, oh, I cannot speak correctly. That person will laugh at me. This person will laugh at me. That person will say, oh, your English is so terrible. Somebody else will say, stop speaking English. You are spoiling the language. Don't worry about mistakes. Unless you make mistakes, you cannot become better. You cannot say, I will start speaking on a day when I can speak perfect English. That's never going to happen. I have given you many examples of this in all the videos. I have said, you never learnt to walk straight without falling down. The child falls many times. The child smiles and laughs. Today, if we fall, we get embarrassed, we get angry, we get upset, but not a child who's learning. When we learn to ride a bicycle, again we fall many times, we hurt ourselves. But after practicing, we learn. By making mistakes, we learn. The more mistakes you make, the better your English will be. If you do not make mistakes, that means you already know English. So there's no need to fear. Fear is only for people who make mistakes. But the fear of making mistakes, you have to overcome. Overcome the fear of speaking implies overcome the fear of making mistakes while speaking. This is our third step. Why did I mention this, the ability to speak better without worrying about mistakes? The reason is that unless you try it out, you don't know how good you are at something. First time when you speak or first time when you do anything, it comes out badly. If you go to attend your job for the first day, on the day one you might make many mistakes. But somebody tells you that, this is the mistake you've made and this is how you have to correct yourself. Or you find out after doing the whole thing, you find, oh, this is the mistake I made. Then what do? You learn to correct yourself so that you don't make that mistake again. So overcoming the fear of speaking means that although you make a mistake, don't allow it to disappoint you, but allow it to make you better by learning to correct the mistakes. Don't stop at that mistake by saying, oh, if I make a mistake, no problem. I don't know English, so I must make mistakes. When people whose mother tongue is not English travel in countries where English is the mother tongue, very often we are expected to make many mistakes. But then there are people whose English is second language for these people and they speak perfect English. There is no problem with their English. So then you get respected. You say that yes, they are speaking correct English, although it's not their mother tongue. This might happen with people who learn languages. You speak your mother tongue well. Some person whose mother tongue is different speaks your language as well or better than you. Then you say, oh, it is not the person's mother tongue, but that person speaks so well. So making mistakes is not wrong, but living with those mistakes is wrong. If you say, I does work, then this is wrong. Everybody understands I does work means that person who's talking is doing some work or usually does that work. But then I goes with do. I do work or I work, not I does. So where you use the wrong form, meaning is clear. But we are not always dependent on meaning. We want something more than meaning. And that is, we want the exact meaning. We want the exact structure. If you want to learn a language, you must respect that language. And respecting the language means overcoming your mistakes. Not only fear, which makes, you have fear of mistakes, but you get over your fear and get over the mistake also. Correct your mistakes, and that is one wonderful way of speaking well. Now, step number 4, and that is to build up your self-confidence. There is an entire video on speaking confidently, I think many months back. You need to search in the list, or it might be there in the playlist or podcast if you search them. I will try to give you the link in the description itself. Speaking confidently. Now, much of our fear is because of lack of confidence. Why do we fear? We know English, we can construct, we can say something. If you meet one person, if you meet a friend, you can speak very well. But if you stand in front of 10 people, you can't say a single word. You get totally frightened. So you need to build up your confidence. Building up confidence requires that you constantly practice, as I told you in step number 2 was practice. Constantly practice thinking that people are listening to you. Although you are practicing in your house or in your room, you must imagine that there are many people who are listening to you. You must imagine that you are speaking to a large group of people who are evaluating your English. That way, you will make your mind into 2 parts. The mind has great ability. There is a witness mind and there is a participating mind. So the participating mind is talking and the witness mind is seeing, am I talking well? In this way, you will find that every day you become slightly better, your confidence increases. We say self-confidence is the key to success. This is a famous saying. Self-confidence is a key to success. So when this step number 4 is the key to your success. You want to speak successfully. To speak successfully means you should not feel nervous. You should not feel frightened. You should not feel stress or anxiety. These you should not feel. So how to do this is to become confident. Once you become confident, you find that you are able to speak in any situation, whichever you want. There are no problems in speaking. Now, another thing which creates fear is subject matter. Till now, I was speaking to you about, how to practice, how to get rid of fear by controlling your mind, by thinking, auto-suggestion, etc., and practicing all those. But now what I'm going to tell you is very important. Many of us fear to speak because we do not know everything about the subject we want to speak about. Therefore, to overcome the fear of speaking, you need to start from the beginning. Start by speaking about things which you are familiar with. How will you practice speaking without fear? Take something simple. Describe your room or describe your house. Describe your parents or your family. Describe your neighbors. Describe your best friend. These are small exercises which are where the subject matter is familiar to you. Describe the subject which you're studying in school or college, or describe your job, your position, the company in which you're working. All these also you can take for descriptions. Now what you do is, whenever you want to, do an exercise of speaking, overcoming the fear and then speaking, be very thorough in the subject. about which you want to speak. Suppose you want to speak about a subject which you are not comfortable with, immediately fear will come. You will not be able to speak, although you know excellent English, you have no problems with English, but you have this problem, and that is subject. Therefore, the knowledge of the subject is important, and that you can become proficient by listening to lectures on that subject, by reading books on that subject, by talking to people who know about this subject. In this way, you can become better. Suppose you want to speak about a book, then you must remember what that book is about. You start by speaking and then you say, oh, I forgot. After page 10, what happened? I don't even remember. That means you are going to fear. As soon as you start with the first 5 sentences, you start getting scared. Oh, I know only the first bit. I don't know the second bit. How will I speak? Your mind is so engrossed in the fear that you forget whatever you wanted to say. You stumble. You keep using the same word again and again. You keep saying, what I mean is, okay, now let me repeat. In this way, you are hesitating. You are hesitating because your mind is telling you that you know only this much, you have to know much more. Therefore, step number 5 is very important for overcoming fear. All the steps are important, but as I told you, practice step by step. Don't go into, all the 5 steps together, because that will not happen. First step you try, then you see whether your fear has become less or not. First you start in the morning and evening, you tell yourself good thoughts. Remove negatives from the mind and see, is it better? Is my mind feeling better? Now I have practiced English 1 hour today or 2 hours today. And at the end of the day, can I really say that yes, I am feeling better. I am improving. My journey of learning English is a success. This kind of a thing will be very useful. So do step by step. That is what I wanted to tell you. Please watch the other videos which have reference to this. If you are a beginner, watch all the beginners videos. Learning easily English, which is very simple. If you are an advanced learner, watch the videos which are reference to you. Just now in this video, I gave reference of root forms. I've given you a vocabulary lesson on root forms. This is a little difficult. For beginners, it can only be a video for listening to English. You listen to English even if you don't understand. This also I've said many times. But go on listening. You will find after some time you are able to use the language. I have seen students, who do not know any Hindi, and then they can sing 500 songs in Hindi because that song has become embedded in the mind. Slowly, by singing those in competitions, etc., they are able to learn the language. So that is how language learning is. And once you learn, you overcome your fear automatically. Therefore, I want you to work hard. I want you to practice every day, and I want you to learn very well, not basic English only. I want you to rise higher and higher till your English becomes excellent. That is the aim of this channel. This channel is not talking about only one level of English learners. I wish you all the best and thank you for watching.